So DJI Osmo Pocket versus GoPro Hero 7. Both incredible, little, tiny, small action cameras, whatever these are considered. But today I want to take you through kind of a little comparison of who I think this is really made for and who this would be better suited for. Let's do this. So these cameras have very different purposes, and kind of where I want to talk about are the three things that obviously are really going to be compared with these cameras. Is simply stabilization is the first thing. This obviously is a motorized gimbal, so it's designed for stabilization. The GoPro is all electronic stabilization, but they've done some magical wonders with somehow making it look incredible. As Pablo and I were talking about like which camera is actually better for getting like some B-roll and some other things and time lapses and all those, they serve such different purposes. But first, let's just do some quick comparisons of the actual stabilization. Internal stabilization versus motorized. So the great thing about both these little units is they both will shoot 4K 60 frames a second, which is great obviously for action sports and all that. So that is where we're going to do all our testing in. Picture profile wise, it's going to be a standard profile on the Osmo because they don't have any other options right now, which they said they were going to have. And I'll show you a standard profile on the GoPro, but in general I love the fact that the GoPro can shoot in a much flatter profile because it really allows you to do some more stuff in grading. So let's do this. 60 frames a second. First test we'll do without trying hard, and we'll literally just walk without overthinking it and see what the result is. So just a normal walk here, not overthinking it at all. This is what your average Joe would do. My name's not Joe, so that doesn't matter, but you get the point. All right, so this is 4K 60 on the GoPro. Not overthinking it, just walking. You can definitely see a little bit of warping because it is obviously such a wide lens. Okay, here's the exact same walk. Both gimbals are just in one hand, not overthinking it at all, just walking. Which one does a better job of stabilization? So the next one, I'll pay a little bit more attention to what my actual walking would be as though I'm actually controlling a gimbal, and I'll do a little bit more movement like I would with a gimbal. So maybe a slight walk and a push up into the trees. And we'll see what that looks like. With a little turn here. So now this is the GoPro. I'm actually attempting to do more gimbal-like walking and movement. So one thing obviously about the GoPro is that because it is so wide, you obviously do get some distortion with the trees. They do have what's called linear mode, but linear mode can only be used in 24 frames, not in 60. So it's easily fixable in post, but depending on if you want to have to obviously fix the warping in post, that might be something that's fairly important. A lot of people like obviously really wide shots with GoPros, which is why it's so wide. I personally don't love the wide look. I like it to be a little bit more natural for a camera. So one thing to keep in mind. So next up, let's just do a little bit of image test. We're now going to switch to 4K 24 frames a second, and I'm actually discovering that the linear mode can't be shot in that either. It's only 2.7K to shoot in linear mode, so I'll have to fix this in post. But we're just going to look at straight up image quality, the exact same shot with both cameras, and see which one has just better overall look, better dynamic range, all those kind of things, and see for yourself. Okay, so just an overall image quality test. We got the GoPro. We got the DJI Osmo Pocket. Both right now in just standard profiles. We're just taking a look at image quality. Okay, so next up we will do kind of a vlog test for you to get a feel for what it looks like pointing at me, and you can hear audio and just hear what it looks like and sounds like, because some people may use it for this. One huge feature you get of obviously the Osmo is that when you're flipping into selfie mode or vlogging mode, you still can see the screen, so you can clearly see what you're still looking at, which is great. Now the GoPro is wide enough that you're not really gonna have to worry about that, because there's really no chance that you couldn't be in the frame when it's that wide. But this is what it looks like and sounds like using the Osmo if you're just kind of walking and doing some vlog stuff. If you want to improve audio on any of these units, you could always just have some sort of lav mic hooked up to you and use the audio from it, like a Tascam DR10 type of setup. But for most people, they're just going to use it in this mode, and it works really, really good for this mode. It's nice because the Osmo has face tracking with the gimbal, so it'll actually follow your face. So even if I move it this way, you'll see how the gimbal continues to follow my face even as I move it around. Pretty cool feature that only a gimbal can offer. So this is vlogging on the GoPro. What's it sound like? What's it look like? As I mentioned, super wide frame, so you're not gonna have to worry about you not being in frame. You're not gonna have to worry about focus, because obviously it's an infinite focus, so it's not like you're gonna get depth of field or have to worry about that side of it. But it's super small, really easy to carry around with you. I believe the audio actually sounds better on the GoPro. I may be wrong when I watch this in post, but I was really impressed with how much the actual audio quality improved on the GoPro compared to previous versions. So luckily GoPro figured that out, because audio is huge, especially if you're doing this kind of stuff. If you're looking for a camera that's extremely durable, there's no doubt that the GoPro wins in that. You don't have to worry about really anything with the GoPro. It's waterproof. You can drop it all you want. You kind of can toss this in a bag, you can toss this in your pocket, and it's just really, really easy to carry around and not worry about. Obviously with a gimbal like the Osmo, there's a couple more things to worry about, because you have obviously a little motor there. It's a little bit more fragile. You can't just toss it around. You got to put it in this little case that it comes with. It's very small and it still is very portable, but you're not going to bring this to an area obviously where you're going into water unless you get the additional waterproof housing. So it's a little bit more fragile from that standpoint, but that could be something that obviously is a big factor to you. If you do want just a great little carry around camera that you don't have to worry about, this probably is a better option for you. If you want something that's more like a camera in terms of look and in terms of capability of how it does certain things with the gimbal, this could obviously be more important for you. But that's really just a preference thing. Now, one thing that the Osmo does really uniquely that I think is a really cool feature is its actual time-lapse feature, where you can do motion time lapses. Both of these have built-in time-lapse modes where you can obviously set your interval, it'll do all the shots, and then it will stitch it into a movie, and they all look great. What this does really uniquely, because it is a gimbal, is you can do motion time lapses where you can say from this spot to this spot, I want you to take a shot every 10 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever interval. And you can get these really, really cool looking motion time lapses. You can't do that with a GoPro, obviously, because it doesn't move, it just stays positioned. So you'd have to do any of those movements in post. If you're someone that's looking for a really, really good camera for time lapses, the Osmo Pocket is awesome for that because of that feature. It has the uniqueness of being able to get time lapses while having movement, because it's all motorized and being able to program it that way. Pretty cool feature. I personally love that feature, but I haven't actually used it that much yet, because I still am looking for a great way to actually put this on a stand, because it doesn't have like GoPro mounts or tripod mounts, so it's just kind of awkward, but cool feature nonetheless. So which one is better for you? It really comes down to what you're looking for. Are you looking for a camera that is more like a camera and an actual gimbal, like the DJI Osmo Pocket? Or are you looking for something that you don't have to worry about, that does great image quality, great stabilization without the need for a motor or additional batteries, and it's waterproof and throw proof and drop proof and everything? It's all about preference. They're basically the same price, so they're pretty close to the same type of camera, but it's all about what you prefer. GoPro, DJI Osmo Pocket, it's really your preference.